take more of it. And it'll be very little of that left for
the middle class folks.
Middle class person. That's why you have to jump on this right now.
Okay, then. So are you hearing this? He's saying that the people with money can able to go out and buy, thousands of ounces. Say 1,000 ounces of silver will cost you $15,000 plus premium. Say $20,000. Well, the average person can't drop $20,000 at a blink, and eat and take care of his family and bills. So you're beginning to see now you're going to have to act upon these things now, where they are plentiful, because if the panic starts, they'll be scarce.
Right. And then lastly, there's a couple of things I'm going to move real quickly here, because we've not talked about gold. But I really, most of the times, I don't talk about gold, because most of the times it's just totally out of the reach of the average person.
Well, there's they call a gold-silver ratio. And you can find, you go to Kitco or his site, that you can find out, and then the ratio now is for every 1 ounce of gold, this is $1,000 now. I've got $1,000, and silver is roughly $15 now. Let's say 15, rounded out $15. So you can see then, as you're talking about almost between 70 and 80 ounces. So every 1 ounce of gold, you can buy roughly, just say 70, about 70 ounces of silver. So silver is the best undervalued investment of all times right now.
That's correct.
That the average man can get his hands upon to maintain his wealth right now.
Right.
Or to maintain his purchasing power, or what little money. If you had $3,000, to maintain the $3,000, you'd be better off, instead of buying 3 ounces of gold, you could buy roughly 210 ounces of silver, which would you'd be better off as an average man. And silver has a chance of going from $15 to $30 much easier than gold's going from 1,000 to 2,000.
Right. That's correct. Yes. And very quickly, on the last thing here, I want to put up here, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is something that I've gotten involved with, and in essence, most people again are not aware of this, but this is what we call the copper bar. This is actually a very special bar, because it's a 2009 inaugural copper bar, which means that there are only 1,000 of these that were minted, and that in itself is very unique. But there's a picture here of the actual president on the bar, and this is what we call the Barack Bullion bar.
Okay, now how much is this? I mean, how many?
This is what we call a 1 pound bar.
Oh, it's 1 pound.
One pound of copper. It's pure copper.
That's pure copper.
Pure copper.
I mean, people at one time, there was about a couple of years, or 6 or 7 months, when a year or two, they was cutting cable, and it's still in copper.
That's correct. Well, that's one of the problems here, of course, that they're having in a lot of these houses that are boarded up. As you know, when these houses are boarded up,
they're stripping
the copper out of there.
Right.
That ought to tell you something about copper, because copper in itself has value. And one of the reasons why I've looked at this, and I've caught on, because there was a Jewish young man that I deal with in terms of distributorship, and he says, Dr. Mason, if you want to see the next thing that's going to come behind silver, he says, start investing in this here. He says, because this is going to become another one of the instruments that when people cannot buy silver, they'll have to rely on copper.
Now, run that past the people again. So you're saying at some point that silver itself will get out of hand. I'll give you an example. Take that 1 dime that Dr. Mason talked about earlier. If silver was to go to $100, that 1 dime would be worth approximately between $7 and $10. I said 1 dime. And say if silver was to go to, say, $500 an ounce, that 1 dime would be almost worth $40. And so that's putting a crush on the average man. Because how many dimes can you buy? One of them dimes is $40. You heard me.
You're going to be in pretty bad shape.
You're going to be in pretty bad shape. So what he's saying then, at some point, silver will be priced out of the average man's hand. Just like in the biblical time, the average man only dealt, Messiah was betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. The average common man didn't see gold. Gold was the king's metal.
That's correct.
So now we're saying that silver would get so expensive that the only thing you left us with this.
You left with copper, and at some point in time, of course, this in itself, as I said before, I think the way I'm looking at this here is that right now I bought it now, made a major investment in this because of the fact that I have the foresight to see where this is going. And you know that I've been promoting copper because I honestly believe that this is going to be one of the resources that people will be left with, because they will be completely out of the gold. They won't be able to buy gold or silver. It'll be completely out of it. So what is the next item that's behind this? This becomes, in my opinion, This becomes the next best value that a person will be able, because you got to remember, again, if paper fails, you've got nothing, okay, because you're not going to be able to use the paper. But if you got gold, silver, and then thirdly copper, you've got something to barter with. You've got something that has an intrinsic value to it. And I would say that you can use the copper that would, in my mind, the way I envision it is that both silver and gold will be for your major purchases, and you can use copper for your least expensive items and so forth. That's how I kind of see it in that tier: gold, silver, and then copper.
We know in the Roman days that those were the three.
Those were the three metals.
Three metals.
Exactly. I mean, if you study the Old Testament in particular, even it's mentioned, one of the things that that it talked about, even the priests, their garments were, there was the garments had those metals in it. But not only that, the mine that King David had, you know what he had?
Right.
He had a copper mine.
Oh, yeah. Even the tabernacle was gold, silver, and copper. Right.
Exactly. So these are not metals, again, that do not have value. Just from Scripture, it tells you what real money is.
Exactly.
And God put it here.
And since we're talking about this, we don't have time.